we have a lot of people that follow us that didn't start out as conservative, and then they listen to us, they watch us, and they convert. You know, we're kind of proud of that because
That's awesome.
they get to know us, and then they're like, these chicks don't suck, and so and they'll hear what we have to say, and they're like, okay, this makes a lot of sense.
It's common sense. It's
This
common sense.
exactly, common sense makes sense. So we know, I mean, at least from what I've read, you didn't start out as a conservative, kind of like Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan didn't become a Republican until he was, 51 years old. And I actually
Oh,
read
I
an
didn't
article.
know that. 51?
Yeah, 51. And I
Okay.
read an article about you that actually compared you to Reagan, of all people, who is one of my favorites. And there are a lot of things about you, like your Midwest upbringing and your media background and how you moved out west, and you had your pivotal moment. How you were like, you felt called, and things like that. So I thought it was interesting, the comparison, but how you started out and you weren't a conservative to start. So what was it? Was it just like how everything has been so crazy in our country? Is that what brought you to
Actually,
conservatism?
Ronald Reagan was really a childhood hero of mine. I grew up an hour away from him, obviously a few decades apart. And he was the president of my formative years. He was the president from when I was 10 until I was 18. And, there's a lot of false information out about me, but I have been a registered Republican almost my entire life. I registered as a Republican because of Ronald Reagan at the age of 18 for my very first election that I got to vote in. And I've been a registered Republican almost my entire life, except for 4 years when I registered as a Democrat and 2 years when I registered as an independent. And I'm currently a registered Republican, obviously. But during that time between Ronald Reagan and Donald J. Trump, we watched as our political leaders, the Democrats and the Republicans, kind of morphed into one big swampy uniparty yuck.
Right.
And they're attacking me for voting Democrat at a point. And my response is, what were our choices? I had 2 babies, one on either hip. My kids are about a year and a half apart. I'm watching the Iraq War rage on, which should have never been started. It was started on false pretenses, and we were lied to. And I'm looking at these 2 candidates that were given, and I'm saying, which one will end this war, this endless war? And I'd covered John McCain as a journalist here in Arizona, and I knew for certain it wasn't going to be him. And so I took a chance on a new guy, and it didn't work out. It didn't work out well. We were excited about first Black president. We thought that we'd see this country come together, and I do believe this country can come together, by the way, but it didn't work out. So it's funny, though, they have no dirt on me. So they try to manufacture all this stuff that's completely bonkers.